I think one of the most interesting things I learned from that Formula One engineer when I went to that seminar was the difference between elastic and kinematic loads and load transfer. So let's roll the intro video and let's get into kinematic and elastic load transfer. I've spent the last 30 plus years working on race cars, building race cars, and racing cars. And I'm here to help you better understand racing technology. Very basically, kinematic load transfer is anything that'll happen through a solid linkage like a radius rod, upper and lower control arm, J-bar, stuff like that. That's a kinematic load transfer. And that happens almost instantaneously or in a very rapid state. An elastic load transfer is anything that goes through springs or rubber devices, any suspension where the car will actually roll and you can actually see the spring and the shock and the rubber devices take up the difference in distance. Okay, this is what I see as the difference between kinematic and elastic weight transfer. Kinematic weight transfer is quickly through the locating linkages. The problem with kinematic weight transfer is there's no cushioning effect to give your tire contact patch traction, either side bite or forward bite. So all your cushioning effect for kinematic weight transfer will happen through the tire, and the tire will actually bounce and take up and lose grip more easily with kinematic weight transfer. Elastic weight transfer is much, much slower in reacting because it often happens with indication of body roll. Springs get compressed and released. And the good thing with elastic weight transfer is that it maintains and helps maintain the tire contact patch and the grip in the contact patch. I go through grip with slip angle and slip ratio, and an elastic weight transfer helps maintain that grip through your shocks and springs and everything else. There was an attempt for a while, back when I first got into the late model things, where people were always trying to put cushioning devices into kinematic weight transfer devices, like cushioned J-bars, cushioned lower control arms. I think GRTs back in the day used to run a lower with a strut that went on it, and the lower had cushioning pieces in there. Stock automobile cars always had rubber bushings in the linkages to give it a little bit of a play. In race cars, though, there's certain features that you don't want that play in. When you have forward locating links, like in a four link, and you're depending on that wheelbase change to be consistent, you don't want to put a cushioning device in there that's going to actually make that inconsistent. Same with the J-bar. I don't like cushioned J-bars for the simple fact is that you want your right side tire alignment and all your wheel alignment to end up the exact same thing almost all the time. The more variable you put in that, the more inconsistent it gets. We're always going to get some inconsistencies in right side tire alignment because of the angle of the J-bar and how much rear steer we get. Sometimes if you go in a little bit deeper, you're going to get more weight transfer, and the rear end will pull a little bit because the springs will compress. And that'll always happen, but when you almost start putting too many cushioning devices in your kinematic weight transfer deals, the variable gets bigger and it gets harder to track and harder to maintain and see where this stuff lines up. So I like to split the two ideas, kinematic and elastic, into two groups, very defined groups, and only tune on one while keeping the other one in mind. This video is a little shorter than what I'm used to doing, but I think it really encompasses everything that's going on with this kinematic versus elastic. I've been getting a lot of questions about this, so I thought I'd do this video to clear it up. If you like the video and you like other videos that I have on my site, subscribe to the channel and ring the bell for notifications when I put up new videos. They're not going to send you a bunch of spammy emails for notifications, but every time you log into YouTube and you get looking for videos, mine will pop up that I had uploaded new videos to the channel. So subscribe and ring the bell, and I'll see you in the next video.